Okay, we're ready. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. One more time. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for those gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane, where our mission is to join together to create a nourishing, liberal religious home and to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in our wider world, or as we say in short, to create community, find meaning, and work for justice. Welcome to one and all. I want to embrace all that you bring with you to this space, all of your unique beliefs, your background, your lifestyle, your experiences, your differences, all that helps make you who you are is welcome here this morning. This is true for those who hear me say this every Sunday, as well as those who might be joining us more recently or even for the first time today. You're equally as welcome and appreciated. And of course, those who are streaming with us, we're also glad to know that you're here too. So welcome to one and all, and thanks for being here. Just one quick announcement. The MLK March, Martin Luther King March, is happening, of course, tomorrow at 10 a.m. And I've noticed that it has become such a big event, it's hard for us as a congregation to actually find each other, and I think that's perfectly fine. But I will be there, and I hope to wave to you, to as many of you as I see. So hopefully you'll be able to be there too tomorrow. And today I'm graced to have one of my best friends here in the congregation. Last month I introduced my brother Chad to you. He was up from Sacramento, and we had spent a lot of time together for a while. And so today I get to welcome my brother Appy Watkins to our church, because that's what we are, brothers. And I didn't know he was going to grace us with his presence until last night. He called and said, "Are you in the pulpit tomorrow?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm coming." And he was here for the first service. He's not going to be able to stay the entire second service because he has some other responsibilities. But he's wanted to be sure and be here to say hi to all of you. So I'm going to actually welcome Happy to the pulpit again to honor us with some of his words on this day.
I come by because Todd is truly my best friend. And a couple of years ago, when I was thinking about moving on so that my son can take over, it was Todd and this congregation who helped me get into a church on the corner of Oregon and Boone. There were times when I went through some stuff. Maybe you don't understand it, but I went through some stuff. And I didn't call the black pastors of the church, I called Todd. And he invited me to sit in his big chair in his living room. We didn't talk. But here's what happened. The Spirit of God communicated between the both of us. And we just sat there. And I shared with him what I needed, and he shared with me, and I left. And I want to tell you, he is truly, in my heart, a man of great substance. So I come by to say to you, please, I know we have differences, but I want him to be part of this great, great community, even though he gets me into trouble. He is truly my friend, and his family have taken me in, and this church has taken me in. I go back to my church because I felt like the Triple Crown winner, and they took the Triple Crown winner and they put him in a pasture. And he ate carrots and apples, pears. And I kind of felt that in my own way, that they put me out to pasture. But Todd was always there to put his arms around me. In fact, Wednesday, I went up to a place called Bonner's Ferry to do my speech. And I walked into this restaurant, and everything stopped. Everyone looked. Even the chef that flipped the pancake, it stood up in midair and looked at me. But by the grace of God, I've asked Todd to keep lighting candles for me and for my safety. And now I'll go back. I won't be able to stay with you, but I'll go back, and they'll say, Happy, what did Todd talk about? Well, it takes me 2 services to understand what he talks about. But I'm going back, and I know they're going to ask me, what did Todd talk about? I said, he was deep. But by the grace of God, I'll get with him tomorrow or Tuesday and get the meaning of his sermon. But I say to you as happy to all of you, he's my best friend. Take care of him. I know we have problems, but take care of him, because I need him. And I thank you for what you have done for me and my church, even though I'm pastor emeritus. I still trust in Todd and its spiritualism. And please continue to light candles for my wife and I. And thank you for your hospitality and your warmth and your smile. But the reason why I'm here, because I want to let you know that, in a sense, I'm part of this great congregation. And Todd is my best friend. So Martin Luther King said everybody can be great because everybody can serve. And thank you for letting me have just a few minutes. And so I'm going back to the pasture and have an apple and some carrots.
Thank you, Abby. You guys take a few minutes to greet one another. Go ahead and move forward now by lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith, of our unity and our solidarity, of our openness and our inclusion, of our community and our individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need. And may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever it's been found.
As we enter into worship, put away the pressures of the world that ask us to perform, to take up masks, to put on brave fronts. Silence the voices that ask you to be perfect. This is a community of compassion and welcoming. You do not have to do anything to earn the love contained within these walls. You do not have to be braver, smarter, stronger, better than you are in this moment to belong here with us. You only have to bring the gift of your body, no matter how able, your seeking mind, no matter how busy, your animal heart, no matter how broken. Bring all that you are and all that you love to this hour together.
We have a beautiful winter hymn this morning that I always look forward to doing at least once. Looks like we don't have too much snow left in the moment, but this has beautiful imagery. Please rise to sing All Beautiful, the March of Days, number 57.
All beautiful the march of days as seasons come and go. The hand that shaped the roses brought the crystal of the snow. Has sent the hoary frost of it, the flowing waters sealed, and laid a silent loveliness on hill and wood and field. O'er white expanses sparkling clear, the radiant morn unfold. The solemn splendors of the night burn brighter through the cold. Life bounds in every throbbing vein, love deepens round the hearth, and clearer sounds the angel hymn, goodwill to all on earth. O thou from whose unfathomed law the year in beauty flows, thyself the vision passing by in crystal and in rose. Day unto day doth utter speech, and night to night proclaim in ever-changing words of light the wonder of thy name.
Okay, I think it's my turn now. We got lots of talkers back there, so I hope all the kids will come forward and let me entertain you. Let me entertain you. No, okay, wrong venue. All right, I'm going to sit right here, but you can sit any. I'm allowed. It's okay. All right. Okay, so today we're talking about Martin Luther King. Here's a nice picture of him on a book that I found at the library. I love libraries. I spend a lot of time at them. And I got an idea. It wasn't my idea, so I'm going to give credit where it's due. One of the books suggested that when we talk about some of the issues that come up, like prejudice, bias, those are big words. What I did was I found some smaller words that I thought would work. And what I'm going to do, I've got a bag here, and the whole idea is to put these negative thoughts in this bag And then if I could, but I'm not going to, because Todd wouldn't like me to burn the building down. But I can burn the bag. And then I'm going to get rid of all those negative emotions, right? Okay? Sense? So we're going to do that. And I'm going to show you some words today that I think will resonate for you. Okay, the first one is fear. Now, I think all of us are afraid of something. Yeah? Are you afraid of something? I'm afraid of the dark and scorpions. I don't like scorpions at all. So fear. So that's one thing that we can put in our bag and we're going to burn away so that we're not fearful. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah? You like that idea? Okay. Then, here's a good one. Isn't there stuff we don't like? Yeah. Like I don't like lima beans. Okay. But think about in terms of getting along with people, what you dislike. But maybe, you can change that to liking someone. If we want, disliking something and then changing our point of view. Can you understand that? Does that make sense to you? Yeah? Yes? Okay. So I like this one. Shrinking from. Do you know what that means? See something you don't like and you go, ooh, I don't want to be near that. That scares me. Maybe it's an animal, maybe it's a car, maybe it's another person that you are afraid of. So you shrink from. You ever had that experience? Shrinking from something? Yeah. Okay, good. All right, me too. And here's my favorite, because I have an issue with this. Anger. Do you get mad? I get mad a lot. My husband tells me I can go from 0 to 60, boom, like that. Then I calm down. So I spend a lot of time working on that one. Do you get angry? Okay, that's kind of a negative emotion, isn't it? So we're gonna try to change that. Now I'm gonna put it in my bag here so we can burn it later and get rid of it. Okay. So the last two I want to talk about is what we want to work for in this life, I hope, is fairness. So that we treat everybody the same. Does that make sense to you? Fairness? Yeah? What does that mean to you? To be fair. What do you think being fair means? Yes, giving everybody the same opportunities, yes? Sharing and caring. So that's a good one. Fairness. And one of the things that Martin Luther King talked about and also Mahatma Gandhi is being fair, accepting everybody. Because we're all the same, even though each of us is unique, we're all the same. No matter what our color, what our religion, what our creed, any of those things. So one of the big things that Martin Luther King talked about is this word. Anybody can read that? Love. What do you think? What do you think about love? Getting hugs. I love getting hugs. Okay, so one of the lessons that Martin Luther King talks about, Mahatma Gandhi talked about, is the fact that we should love everyone. I know that's hard sometimes, because there are lots of people we go, well, I don't really love that person. But we can work toward this. This is something to work toward. I mean, I'm older than you, and I'm still working on this one. So, it is possible, but it takes a lot of work. Okay? So one of the things I want you to think about today is loving people, no matter what the color of their skin, no matter their religion, no matter whether you like them or dislike them or there's something about them that you don't like. I want you to think about approaching them with love, okay? And getting hugs, just like she said, getting hugs. So can we all think about that today? That's a lesson I kind of want you to share. And one of the things that Martin Luther King said, and I'm going to share it with you, he said, hopefully we're going to speed up the day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will all be able to hold hands and sing, "Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last." And I'd like to add Muslims to that, because that wasn't an issue when he was doing his dream speech, but it is a speech now. So hopefully we can all send love out to everyone and love everyone. I know it's a hard one, but we can work on that, yes? I'm still working on it, so, and you all. Brothers and sisters. Yeah, so that's a good one. So anyway, so we're going to send you off to your classes, and I want you to think love. Okay? All right? We all ready to go to class? Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Thank you.
We light this second chalice so that as our children and youth go to their chapels, they carry the light of our flame with them. May it illuminate, inspire, and warm you as it does us.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. Lay the
Today we have a special collection, and it's going to the Days for Girls Cloth Feminine Hygiene Kits. There is a table in the back, and I know they would love to talk to you about the ability to be involved with that hands-on in the next couple weeks, and you can read about it in your order of service. But this collection will help with expenses to deliver over 1,600 washable Days for Girls Cloth Feminine Hygiene pads to Zambia, Africa next summer. Each kit costs about $12 to make and includes 8 pads, 2 shields, a washcloth, a bar of soap, 2 pairs of underwear, 2 plastic bags, and a beautiful drawstring bag, and is a really important mission. So if that interests you, you can use these envelopes and don't seal them, and we'll use them again. We now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which sustains this community and its mission to the larger world.
Thank you, Stanton. Well, isn't it great to have Stanton Cobbs with us this morning? And he's going to do our special music in a bit and give an extraordinary song, both through his talent but also the message, so pay close attention. We are going to kindle our candles of care now for those who are most on our hearts and minds, and I did not receive any specific requests for candles. I do know of one family in our midst who suffered a great loss this week, and I've not been able to get permission to talk about that yet. So I just want you to right now take in a big breath and imagine embracing a family that has had a tough week, a very tough week, and let them feel your love at this time. And let's do that in a moment of silence, and when you're ready, you're also welcome to name others that you might be concerned about at this time if you'd like. those named aloud and those embraced in our silence, and all those who are suffering in our world at this hour, we hold in our community with compassion.
Now let's enter into meditation with these words. Let us listen deeply to what is on our hearts. Let us listen to what our fears are. Let us listen to the young children. Let us listen to the teens. Let us listen to the elders. Let us listen when the world is sick. Let us listen.
For our reading today, if you'll turn with me to number 732 in the gray hymnal, number 732. And why don't we start with this side of the room, to my right, your left, and this side can be our respondents, and then we will conclude on the final verse together. Number 732. Great Spirit of light and of darkness, let us find the way and the courage to realize the dream which still lives within us. Amen.
The song I've chosen to do this morning was written by a man from Cuba named Carlos Varela. And it was written, it was actually translated into English by Jackson Browne, and he covered this on his 2014 album Standing in the Breach. So the words were written quite some time before the current administration took power, and the words are quite prescient. And at the end, the singer sings, Yo, 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 which in Spanish means me and me and me. And so, oh gosh, this song means a lot to me. So I'm going to ask all you to join me at the very end and sing that. All of us join our voices together. Each one of our little voices makes a big difference together. So this is called Walls and Doors. Ever since the world's existed, there is one thing that is certain. There are those who build walls and those who open doors. Ah, but this, my love, I'm thinking you already knew. For some it's always winter, while others have the spring. Some people find good fortune, while others never find a thing. Ah, but this, my love, is something you already knew. That's how it's always been, and I know you know it. There can be freedom only when nobody owns it. I'm gonna say that again, 'cause I know you know it. There can be freedom only when nobody owns it. Of what use is the moon if you don't have the night? Of what use is a windmill with no Quixote left who'll fight? How about this, my love, this is something you already knew. At some point on the horizon, sky can be confused with earth. Some people dream of God, while others dream of wealth. But of course, my love, this is what you see out in the street. It's how it's always been, and I know you know it. There can be freedom only when nobody owns it. Let me say that again, 'cause I know you know it. There can be freedom only when nobody owns it. 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 Ever since the world's existed, there is one thing that is certain. Some people build walls, others open doors. Yo, 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 join me. Yo, 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 yo,
Thank you so much, Stanton. That's just beautiful. And again, that idea that freedom isn't free as long as someone owns it is profound. Really the heart of my message this morning. I continue to believe that one of our society's major problems is how thoughtlessly busy most of us are. According to Juliet Shore's book, The Overworked American, a third of our population feels rushed and stressed every day of our lives. A majority of us get 1 to 1.5 hours less sleep than we need each night. And half of us report to having too little time for our families, all of which is leading to increased instances of child neglect, marital stress, sleep deprivation, and stress-related illnesses. Yet, we have embraced the image and expectation of ourselves as hard-working Americans. That's part of our self-mythos, driven by our Protestant work ethic. Indeed, the only Western philosophy born in the U.S. is pragmatism. The idea that if something doesn't work, it's of no use. And by extension, those who don't work are seen by many to be of no use. It is my further belief this need to remain almost compulsively busy has resulted in global warming, the impacts of which we're now experiencing. Global warming is the outcome of our resistance to winter. Yeah, to the season of quiet, stillness, and rest. We prefer endless activity and growth, including economic growth and more productivity and profit than we earned last year. Anything less is considered loss. Anything less is considered failure. In rejecting winter, those cold, dark, depressive months, the season in which nature is necessarily meant to rest and rejuvenate, we have gotten exactly what we've been asking for: perpetual summer, the season of harvest, of heat, and of activity. Overdoing things is also a problem for our own individual well-being. This is why every major religion reminds us we can often accomplish more by doing less. Buddhists meditate. Jews observe the Sabbath. Taoists practice Wu Wei, doing without doing. And Christians teach us grace, the principle that we don't have to do anything to be saved. Jesus taught his followers not to stress over the future by observing the effortless workings of nature. Consider the ravens. They neither sow nor reap. They have neither storehouse nor barn, and yet God feeds them. Consider the lilies, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin, yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not clothed like one of these. One mystic author of The Cloud of Unknowing said, "The active life is troubled and busy about many things, but the contemplative life sits in peace with the one thing necessary." The celebrated Trappist monk Thomas Merton went so far as to claim there is a pervasive form of contemporary violence, activism, and overwork. To which theologian Wayne Mueller responds, "We do not have to stretch our perception very far to see that Sabbath time, effortless, nourishing rest, can invite healing from this violence." No wonder Ecclesiastes says, "Better is one handful of quietness than 2 handsful of toil and striving after the wind." In Taoism, the term Wu Wei again means to accomplish by doing nothing. As an old Chinese proverb says, sitting quietly, doing nothing, spring comes and the grass grows all by itself. Sometimes people ask me, and I keep these little whiskers, "Oh, are you growing a beard?" I say, "No, I'm just not stopping it." Practice not doing, the Tao Te Ching says, and everything will fall into place. Tao never acts, yet nothing is left undone. These notions of wu-wei, grace, and Sabbath have led to spiritual practices like meditation, prayer, and contemplation, all of which are accomplished by sitting still and keeping quiet, by doing nothing. This principle, which among the ancient Greeks was called kenosis, meaning emptying or letting go, is something I frequently have spoken about over the years and remain a big believer in. But to return to its analogy with winter, nature's period of stillness, rest, and quiet, I'm reminded for everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. Winter isn't important. We can't reject winter, or we burn up and burn out. But I bring this up today because I recently read something while browsing Erich Fromm's book, The Sane Society, which I often turn to when everything around me seems nuts. Fromm is good medicine. This time around, the line that caught my attention is one he attributes to American philosopher Louis Mumford. The most deadly criticism anyone could make of modern civilization is that apart from its man-made crises and catastrophes, it is not humanly interesting. The most deadly criticism is it is not humanly interesting. That term, not humanly interesting, instantly enabled me to comprehend something about Fromm's teachings that had been puzzling me. In his writings, Fromm often makes a big deal out of boredom. As Trump would say, huge deal. Huge. But here's what he says. Man is the only animal that can be bored. Although he doesn't see this as the defining quality, the thing that makes us human, he does see boredom as an exclusively human problem. Indeed, as the major problem of our individual existence, which we have to solve and from which we cannot escape, he says. All of us, he suggests, must work to overcome boredom. I am convinced that boredom is one of the greatest tortures, he says. If I were to imagine hell, it would be the place where you were continually bored. And it sounds like Fromm really didn't like being bored. And I have to admit, I'm a little dense sometimes. And as much as I love Erich Fromm, I haven't understood his issue with boredom. Like most people, I don't like being bored either, but I don't think it's the end of the world if I am. I can always turn on the TV or read a book or go for a walk or call someone on the phone or whatever, right? What do you do when you're bored? You're all of those, and I thought you were thinking of some other things. But this phrase, humanly or not humanly interesting, quickly helped me tie boredom, the concept of boredom, to everything I do understand about Fromm. By boredom, he doesn't mean simply having nothing to do at any given moment, but nothing meaningful to do with our entire lives. That's boredom. Boredom in this sense is the opposite of meaning. Boredom is the opposite of meaning. And when our lives are meaningless, we're not humanly interesting. We're as boring as we are bored. So how do we solve this problem? How do we become humanly interesting? To answer this, we first have to understand what makes our lives boring to begin with. Given that Fromm spent most of his career trying to explain the the logical and sociological conditions that led to the Holocaust and Nazi Germany and to fascism and groupthink in general, you can guess what he concluded the nature of the problem is. He said it's to be governed by the anonymous authority of conformity. To be governed by the anonymous authority of conformity. In other words, we're bored and boring. Our lives become meaningless because we have fallen into line with everyone else. As a result, there's nothing interesting about us. Nobody is overtly forcing us to do so. We've just decided to go along with the crowd, to engage in tedious, unremarkable, not humanly interesting groupthink. We do not submit to anyone personally. We do not go through conflicts with authority, he says. But we also have no convictions of our own, almost no individuality, almost no sense of self. Can you imagine being part of a society wherein the idea of having a successful community means nobody disagrees? Wherein nobody is allowed to disagree? That sort of existence really does sound boring, if not hellish. As Mumford, who coined this phrase, not humanly interesting, and whom Fromm says he shares many points in common with, went on to say, in the end, such a civilization can produce only a mass person, incapable of choice, incapable of spontaneous, self-directed activities, at best patient, docile, disciplined to monotonous work to an almost pathetic degree, but increasingly irresponsible as one's choices become fewer and fewer. Finally, a creature governed mainly by one's conditioned reflexes, the ideal type desired, yet never quite achieved by the advertising agency and the sales organizations of modern businesses, or by the propaganda office and the planning bureaus of totalitarian and quasi-totalitarian governments. The handsomest encomium for such creatures is they don't make trouble. Their highest virtue is they do not stick their necks out. I think I'd rather stick my neck out and have my own convictions than to willingly submit myself to such a boring, meaningless existence. I'd rather suffer the wrath and disappointment of my community than to mindlessly conform to that which Fromm likens to torture and to hell. So now I get it. Now I understand why Fromm makes so much of boredom and why he considers it the central problem of our existence. So what's the solution? How do we overcome being bored and boring? How do we become humanly interesting? For Fromm, the answer is to be productive. Not in the mindless sense of busying ourselves with meaningless activities that distract us from becoming truly interesting. Being productive in the Frommian sense isn't about going to a job that we don't care for and making as many widgets as we possibly can. Unless doing so, making widgets is what you're passionate about. If making widgets is what brings you meaning, then that's your job. For sure. Being productive means working to fully unfold as a human being. That's the job. To fully unfold as a human being. Fromm says the whole meaning of life is to develop into the individual that one potentially is. And the duty to be alive is the same as the duty to become oneself. That's an amazing statement. The duty to be alive is the same as the duty to become oneself. That's what living is about. For Fromm, this is the exclusive definition of what it means to be productive as human beings. If we are not busy unfolding and becoming ourselves, we are unproductive, no matter how busy or how hard we work. There is no meaning in life, he says, except the meaning you give to your life by the unfolding of your powers. And we cannot do this if we succumb to groupthink and conformity. If we say one must use one's powers, Fromm continues, we imply that one must be free and not dependent on someone who controls one's powers. Freedom is not free, as Stanton taught us, if somebody owns it. It's a struggle. It can be a fight. Becoming authentic, by definition, is not popular, right? Authenticity and popularity, two different things, opposite poles. Being authentic isn't popular. So be prepared. It's a lot easier and safer to conform. But conformity doesn't solve the problem of our lives. It doesn't prevent us from being bored and boring, from being not humanly interesting. This is one of the reasons that I became a Unitarian Universalist 30 years ago, because up until recently, it was a religion based upon this very humanistic ethic, the conviction that we need not think alike to love alike, that we don't have to simply go along to get along. Until now, a healthy congregation wasn't thought of as a group where everybody believes the same thing, who can't speak their own minds, nor offer dissenting views. When I hear it suggested that those saying things some disagree with are being divisive, or that our disagreements are proof we need healing, I'm baffled. I'm baffled in a Unitarian Universalist church. I always thought our ability to freely disagree epitomizes what it means to be UUs, and is what makes us unique and beautiful among religions. It's why we're here. I sure don't want to be part of a boring church where everyone thinks alike. There's plenty of those out there. Too many out there. Our religion is going through a bit of a rough patch right now. But I think that our enduring values will prevail, and we'll get through it. They always do. So this gets us back to the soul of summer, and how it can be just as spiritually valuable to us as the winter of the soul. When we practice stillness and quiet and letting go. But the summer, by contrast, is the season of productivity. Being productive again means unfolding in the sun, right? What do flowers do when the summer's here? They unfold. Open themselves to the light. It means entering into the light where we can be seen for who we truly are. It means shining. It means being energized by our purpose. It means actively pursuing what's meaningful. It means being humanly interesting. Boredom, Fromm says, is nothing but the experience of a paralysis of our productive powers. Boredom is what we experience when we feel powerless and when others are overpowering us, preventing us from being seen or heard for who we are, from saying what we mean, from fully unfolding as authentic individuals. Upon hearing this phrase, not humanly interesting, and finally getting what Fromm means by boredom, I immediately connected it to another term I recently discovered, ikigai. While watching an online conference, one of the presenters described it as the Japanese secret to happiness. Find out what you love. Find out what you're good at. Find out what the world needs. And at the intersection of those three is your life's purpose. After mentioning it to my daughter, who found the concept particularly meaningful, I happened upon a book entitled Ikigai, just in time for Christmas. Now, after glancing a little at her stocking stuffer, I was so enthralled I went back and bought a copy for myself. Its authors say Ikigai translates roughly as the happiness of always being busy. The happiness of always being busy. Now, this concept has been foreign to my thinking until recently, although I've been contemplating it a lot now for the past several weeks. The book's authors confirmed that Ikigai is what lies at the intersection of actually four things: what you're good at, what you can be paid for, because that's important, what the world needs, and what you love. The place where they meet is your Ikigai. That's your purpose, the thing that gives your life so much meaning that pursuing it makes you happy no matter how hard you have to work to achieve it or how busy it keeps you. Maybe that sounds like a recipe for burnout and exhaustion. But guess where Ikigai is practiced most, besides Japan, of course? Where in Japan? Okinawa. Okinawa is the #1 blue zone in the world, meaning that it's the place where there is a higher percentage of centenarians living than anywhere else. In addition to a healthy diet, a simple life in the outdoors, lots of green tea, and the subtropical climate, and by the way, never retiring, they don't retire, the book's co-authors say is the Ikigai that shapes their lives. As we conducted our interviews with the eldest residents of the town, we realized that something far more powerful than just these natural resources was at work. An uncommon joy flows from its inhabitants and guides them through the long and pleasurable journey of their lives. That's an amazing statement. The long and pleasurable journey of their lives. In Okinawa, residents not only live longer on average, they have fewer age-related illnesses like cancer and heart disease, remain active and vital throughout their long lives, including sexually, have fewer age-causing free radicals in their blood, that's been tested, and fewer cases of dementia than anywhere around the globe. So staying busy doesn't seem to be wearing them out. The secret of Ikigai, however, isn't staying busy, but staying happy by doing that which makes our lives meaningful. It means creating that place in your life where what you love and what you do and what the world needs converge. And you get up every day for as long as you can, excited to get busy because your life has authentic meaning. That's the happiness of always being busy, of being productive by becoming who you were meant to be. It is the happiness that makes us humanly interesting. Thank you.
Please stand in body or spirit to sing our closing hymn of the morning, A Fierce Unrest, number 304.
May the love that gives to life its beauty, the reverence that gives to life its sacredness, and the purpose that gives to life its deep significance be strong within each of us and lead us into ever-deepening relationships with all of life. Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom. Shalom Haverim, Shalom Haverim, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Haverim, Shalom Haverim, Shalom
didn't get a chance to talk to you guys. I was so sorry that everyone was coming out.
Oh, I bet you get busy after